Hello everyone, welcome back to the football story. Liverpool smash Yokohama 3-1. And are they back on the winning path? There was a lot of talk saying that this team wasn't ready, that there was issues within the team. And I talked about a little bit about it on my previous video, saying that there were some gaps. But I think today we've seen with a lot more of a steady team, a lot of the players that were in the first kind of 60 minutes, they will probably be starting in the game against Bournemouth in the first game of the Premier League season. So is there that much to worry about? But there is a lot to talk about within that too. I think the midfield options that Arne Slot now currently has is massive, and deciding on who he's going to pick to basically lead out this team for the new season will be a big decision. So we're going to have a little bit of talk about that and how it kind of played out today. Then right back position. I think that is such a big debate right now. A lot of Liverpool fans thinking Bradley should be the starter choice. Frimpong showing his quality today. Should he be starting in the game against Bournemouth? And then finally, we have to talk about Rio Ngumoha. How good was he today? He'll be looking to be getting a lot of minutes. He will be competing with Gakpo, so we need to have a chat about him. But if you're new to the channel, drop a like, subscribe, you know, everything like that. Trying to get to 10k by the end of the year, and we are well on course to do that. So I really do appreciate all the support. But let's get into it. So Arne Slot has a choice to make. Florian Wirtz, Alexis McAllister, Dominik Szoboszlai, and Ryan Gravenberch. He's picked 3 of them 4 midfielders. And this is a tough decision. I think a lot of people are probably weighing it up in a case of Szoboszlai, Florian Wirtz. That's the natural transition, because a lot of Liverpool fans will feel that Gravenberch and McAllister are irreplaceable. I think Gravenberch is 100% one that you can't replace. The impact that he gives on this Liverpool team when he's playing in that deep line midfield role is just impeccable. And I don't think Szoboszlai, McAllister, or Wirtz can play in the same role. So I think he's 100% certain to start. Then you're kind of looking at McAllister, Szoboszlai. Are they the ones that could be interchangeable? But I think McAllister, when he's fully fit, is just someone that you can't not have in this team. And then it weighs up Florian Wirtz and Szoboszlai. And unfortunately for Szoboszlai, I think he does have a lot to give to this team. But Florian Wirtz, the quality that he has, and he's shown that in the last 2 games since he's made his debut, the quality he has is incredible. So I just want to talk a little bit about it today. First of all, we maybe bring in the stats. So I'll show you that first. So this was Florian Wirtz last season, okay? So I just want to kind of highlight the impact that he does have in terms of his numbers. So you can see he's in the 99th percentile for assists, expected assists, 90th percentile for passes, successful passes, 88th percentile, key passes, 93 percentile. Now, the interesting thing is, key passes is actually Szoboszlai is something that Szoboszlai is very good at. I think the work rate, the tackles that he makes, the amount of ground that he covers is important too. But Florian Wirtz does that equally as good, just in different areas. So we take a look at the player comparison up here. So you can see the last 2 seasons of Bayer Leverkusen for Florian Wirtz and the last 2 seasons for Szoboszlai at Liverpool. So you can see key passes, 130, 112. So Szoboszlai is up there in terms of key passes. But the big difference, the big difference is passes into the penalty area. So you can see 147 for Florian Wirtz, 66 for Szoboszlai. Now, that just indicates the level of impact that Florian Wirtz will have on a match. And we've seen that today, taking his goal so well. And I think the more Liverpool are able to get him into those positions, the more Liverpool will have success. The more other players around him, the likes of Ekitike, Salah, Gakpo, the more opportunities they will get, and the more they will be able to take those opportunities. But I think the big kind of underlying thing when we talk about Szoboszlai is his work rate off the ball, and I think that is very important. But in terms of tackles, they're not actually too dissimilar. So you can see here, tackles 59 for Florian Wirtz and 70 for Szoboszlai. Now you can see like the tackles 38 for Wirtz and 39 for Szoboszlai. So it's similar in terms of the number of tackles that they're successful with Florian Wirtz actually having a higher percentage. And even with that, Florian Wirtz is probably going to have a higher tackle percentage in the attacking thirds. You can see there 16 in comparison to 13. A lot of Szoboszlai's tackles come in the defensive third. So from a deep line area, you're not really turning the ball over in high positions to maybe create an attack yourself. So I think from that point of view, you have to be looking at and saying, as much as Szoboszlai does add to this team, and I think we've seen it in the last 2 games, he took his goal really well against AC Milan. I think Florian Wirtz will be the one ahead of him. I think the midfield 3 will be that of Gravenberch, McAllister, and Szoboszlai. But let me know what you think. Does Szoboszlai have a place in this team? I think he will have a worry that he's probably going to be looking for minutes in different capacities this season than he did last season, which is disappointing because he was such a big part of this Liverpool team last season and us winning the Premier League. But I think with the quality Florian Wirtz has, the price tag he's come in with, on that as well, I think the important thing with Florian Wirtz is, and I touched on it briefly there, Liverpool need to be able to get him into the right areas. And I think we've seen glimpses of it in the kind of 2 games that we've seen him, but some of his positions that he's taken up have been a lot deeper. So some of the times we're seeing him, sorry, I'll just move it here. So some of the times we're seeing Wirtz pick the ball up here. He's carried the ball very well. He set up Salah. Salah had a really good opportunity today that didn't come off, but he did the same in the first game as well against AC Milan. So he's picking the ball up here and he's carrying it, but you kind of want him in and around these positions, in between this line, and then on the half turn, driving into the box and then finding those passes, which he's done at Bayer Leverkusen, which we've seen there from the progressive passes into the box. So I think that's something Liverpool are probably just trying to figure out a little bit. And I think that will come with time. It's more the players have to gel together. Florian Wirtz has to find his feet. And I think that's something that they are working on, which is good. And I think the more he plays in this Liverpool team, the more we're going to get to see the best of him. So let me know what you think. How good how impressed have you been with Florian Wirtz since he's come into this Liverpool team? I think he's looked very, very impressive. So many good attributes. And I think the more his match fitness comes into it, the more he starts to understand this team and his players and what Slot wants him, I think he's just going to be absolutely incredible in this Liverpool team. And he's going to light up the Premier League. I really do. I think he's just an absolute cert to be a success. So moving into the right back position, Conor Bradley versus Jeremie Frimpong. This is going to be a very, very similar to Szoboszlai and Wirtz almost. It's going to be a very tough decision for Arne Slot to make, because I think they both have different qualities, but we've seen Jeremie Frimpong today, just how good he is in those positions. He was almost like a Trent pass for the assist for Trainioni. So good. And some of the pace that he has that can really add to a team. Like Conor Bradley is quick, but Jeremie Frimpong is lightning quick. And I think having that pace in a team, especially from the right back position where he might be underlapping and overlapping for Salah, I think that is something that might be hard to omit from this team. But this is our Liverpool lineup today. You could see Bradley was playing as the traditional right back, and he had some good moments in the game. Definitely wasn't his best performance. I think him and Konate were poor for the goal. Konate stepped out again, was caught out of position. Jones had to try and cover, but wasn't able to, and then Yokohama were able to get the goal. But I think overall, Bradley definitely does have a place in his team, but he's going to have to fight hard with Jeremie Frimpong to get his minutes, because, yeah, like I said, I think Frimpong last season was up there in terms of numbers as not only incomparable to defenders, he was up there in comparison to forwards in terms of the output that he was given. And I think that's something that is just so hard to leave out when you're a team that has so much of the ball as Liverpool. I think Bradley does offer a lot in attack, and he does do a lot of really good things. Like his underlapping runs are really good. And even today, he got into some good positions. But I think Frimpong, for me, I think right now, I would probably lean towards Frimpong just because of his quality. And I think Bradley just looks a little bit off it right now. I'm not going to lie. But let me know what you think. Who should be starting at the start of the season against Bournemouth, Bradley or Frimpong? But lads, if you're enjoying the content so far, we have so much more coming this season. I'm trying to learn. I'm trying to get better. If you like the content, make sure to drop a like and subscribe. Really appreciate it. But let's talk about this man, Rio Ngumoha. How good has he looked every single time that he has played in these preseason games? We've seen a little bit of him last year in the Cup, but I think this season is going to be his breakout season, 100%. He looks frightening. It doesn't matter whether he's playing against AC Milan or today against Yokohama. He had those defenders frightened. I think we have such a big player on our hands here. Luis Diaz, the quality that he brought to this team was impeccable. You know how much of a big fan I am of Luis Diaz. But Rio Ngumoha, it makes sense now why Liverpool aren't going into the transfer market and bringing in a Rodrigo, for example, to replace him. If they bring in someone like Rodrigo, they're not going to be able to give Rio the minutes that he deserves. And Rio deserves minutes. He obviously got his goal today, took it really well. He probably could have had 2 or 3 more. There was the one where he cut inside on the right-hand side, takes the shot on his left foot. Keeper does well to save it, but he was disappointed that he didn't score. Some of his movement, the way he picks up the ball, dribbles, attacks defenders. He's almost like, this is the comparison that I keep on seeing. Just when Raheem Sterling, when he came through at Liverpool, he was lightning quick. He was so good on the ball. His dribbling was so direct. He reminds me so much of Sterling. And I think even if he has half the career of Sterling, we are going to have a player on our hands, because he was absolutely unbelievable at Liverpool. And then when he went on to Man City, his game went to a next level. The difference is now is that Rio Ngumoha doesn't have to leave to go and try and win Premier Leagues or Champions Leagues the way Sterling did. He can win them at Liverpool. And I really do think Gakpo will have a problem keeping him out of the team once he gets a run in it, because the ability he has is insane. And thinking the amount of chances that we were talking about there, if he brings in someone like an Isak, Wirtz, Salah, McAllister, the amount of chances he's going to get, the amount of times he's going to be able to pick up the ball and go at defenders, it is crazy. He was impeccable again today. And I think there will be some things around his decision making which will happen because of his age. He's still only 16. He doesn't turn 17 until the end of August. But absolutely incredible. And I'm absolutely buzzing to see a little bit more of him and seeing how this team develops. Because I think right now, Bradley, there's a little battle there. We talked about the Szoboszlai, Wirtz issues. Kirkes and Robertson, I'm interested to see how that develops. I think Robertson won't take this line down. I think Van Dijk and Kanate, they're obviously going to be pretty stable. But will Liverpool bring in someone else to compete with them, like Gahey? There's as much as and as good as this team is, I haven't even spoken about Ekitike today. I think he showed some really good touches, just doesn't have the match fitness there yet. And if Isak comes in, he'll be obviously competing with the two. So Liverpool are going to have so much strength and depth, and not even strength and depth, the quality within that depth is going to be insane. That I think if this really does click the way we all think it will, this Liverpool team could be pretty unstoppable. But let me know what you think. I'm really interested to hear your thoughts. I know it was only another preseason friendly, but there was so much to take from the game, and I'm really interested to see how Slot lines up this team going into the next season. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and I shall see you all on the next one. Make sure to drop a like, subscribe. Cheers, guys.